And so, welcome to the fourth episode of the In Money Out There podcast. This is just the first intro. The second intro is going to happen. It's going to be a live one with Ro. In this episode, we're going to discuss television and technology and technological advancements that will be coming our way in the near future. Hope you enjoyed the episode. It's pretty funny. It's about an hour long, as most of ours were. And yep, I'll see you soon.
So we stocking up on motos. No rest for the weary till we old folks. Memories fade, but they stay taking photos. And when we get the time, we gon' keep them. But till then, you know we keep reaching. Hard work is all we keep preaching. Lead by example, no, we're not leaving. Oh, what?
Hello and welcome to another edition of the In Money Earn Out the Other podcast. I'm Ro.
I'm Mitch.
And today we're going to be talking about TV and technology.
Woohoo.
The features that are good and the features that are shit about these two phenomena of the modern world. So we're going to start talking about TV. And one of the real popular things on TV at the moment is not watching actual TV, but watching like series and all on Netflix. And Midge is kind of the expert on this now.
Well, I would say I'm not an expert per se, but I like my films, I like my TV. I like something like Breaking Bad. It's the best TV show ever made, in my opinion. It's so good. It's got all the good characters. It's got a good plot line. It's just a top-notch TV show. If anyone hasn't watched it, and I know you haven't,
No, I haven't.
definitely
Oh, come
go
on,
and watch
I've
it.
seen some with the old English subtitles there in TG Caher, but I suppose it has to be seen in English to really,
It's so good.
No. I often wonder what makes certain shows really successful and others crap, so to speak.
I think it's the characters. It's people.
Yeah.
You have to get them hooked after after the pilot. If you're not hooked, you're pretty
And
much right off.
the characters are very complex. Like your man in Breaking Bad, what's his name?
Walter White.
Yeah. Wally White or whatever his name is. He's like an anti-hero.
Yeah, you either
Because, okay, like he's a meth dealer, and you think, oh, yeah, meth dealer, that's a scumbag job, right?
but he's gonna die of cancer.
Yeah, and he wants to, like, protect his family and all. So, you're kind of rooting for him, and you hope he doesn't get caught, and and you see in the first couple of episodes all his students when he's a chemistry teacher, or bollocks to him and all the rest of it, you know? So,
It's Walter White. He's like, you either love to love him, you love to hate him, you
Yeah.
hate to love him, or you hate to hate him.
it's an absolutely wild plot.
Yeah.
I don't think any of our chemistry teachers are meth dealers. You can imagine your wildest dreams, maybe, but it's a mad plot. But
It's also
it
believable
shows
at
real
the same
people
time.
and it shows the nature of humans that's real.
It's basically a big dig at the American society in general. Like, he has to work 2 jobs, even though he's a teacher. Like,
Yeah,
you
and he's
can't
gone to
imagine-
college and all the rest of it.
You
Yeah,
can't imagine that happening here in Ireland.
no.
If he were to live anywhere else in the world, his cancer treatment would have been paid for, or
Yeah.
any other Western
He
country.
mightn't have to, deal crack or deal meth even.
You would have had enough money to get life insurance, which is the main reason he does it, is so he has something to give his family.
Yeah,
Which then turns out if he had life insurance, it never would have happened. But because America is very, it's a whole other podcast topic there.
Yeah.
Just
But
America.
it says a lot about American society. It shows a lot about the people's nature and what they're proud to do for their family.
Mm.
And
Even if, you can see, even when, at the start, when he has to kill a certain character, I'm not going to spoil it on anyone, but even when you can see he's upset, and he doesn't want to do it, but he feels that he has to, because
Yeah.
his life, he values his life more than other people's, and then he does what he has to survive, but
Yeah.
it's still like he's not inhuman.
forget Hamlet. Walter White, the new ultimate anti-hero.
Yeah.
Right? So apart from Breaking Bad, and it's almost become a cliche at this point because so many people watched it and everyone thought it was brilliant. It was a near universal critical acclaim.
Yeah, it's like 4th highest ever TV show, 3rd highest ever TV show on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's something.
Do you know
mad
what
like
the other two are? Or?
that. Planet Earth, which is like what's his name, Attenborough, and then
Oh yeah.
number 1 is Band of Brothers.
Of actual TV programs.
Yeah.
It's one of the best. But apart from Breaking Bad, would you have any other particular favourites?
Suits.
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 Suits is a bit more wild.
Well, it's a bit more, civilized. There's no killing. There's more like...
There's no killing, but they're ruthless people.
Yeah.
People, even though the plot of Suits is much more real, that kind of stuff happens. You could, if you did a fly on the wall documentary in a New York law firm, you'd see that.
Yeah.
But people relate to those characters much less than they do with Walter White, because they don't.
Yeah, because it's very disconnected. A lot of people don't know a lot about the law business.
But even the nature of these people, they're heartless and they're cruel. And
yeah, but even someone like Harvey, he will do whatever it takes to protect his company. It's not like
yeah, it's
he's a
right or wrong.
Yeah, he's a really good character. He does what he has to protect Mike or the entire company in general. He's a very good character in general.
Yeah.
Very good.
So I think people just enjoy the drama of it then. Even if they can't relate to, unless very little of the audience are actually big shot New York lawyers or whatever else.
Yeah.
So they just love the drama of it and the toing and froing, and it's
like you haven't seen it, have you? Now
I've seen some of it. I used to watch some scenes, so I didn't watch it religiously. No.
I think even Mike, his character is good. Like, people love Harvey.
Yeah.
Like some of the quotes he comes up with, they're very, very good. Like I live my life by his quotes. Like I don't have dreams. I have goals.
Yeah, I suppose stupider things have been said. So apart from, sometimes it's easy to understand why people get hooked on a series like that. Suits, they enjoy the drama. You're saying Breaking Bad. They can relate to Walter White and why he would do it, even though people see it as wrong. But stuff like, say, Game of Thrones.
I don't watch that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a huge amount of Game of Thrones, but I've seen enough of it to understand what's going on. And I know it was based on very successful books. You can't put it down to the guys who went and made the series and made it popular, but it's a bit like, I know it's strange to say it's a bit like Suits, but obviously nobody can relate to this fantasy universe, but they just love all the drama and the action and just the intricacy of the plot.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, you or I will never be fucking ruling over some kingdom and going to war with all these other lads. Over.
It's a lot like, I don't know, I haven't seen it myself, but from what I've seen from like the previews and stuff like that, it's a lot like Lord of the Rings, but just a bit more mad and
it is a bit more mad.
Crazy.
That and the fact that, and I don't want to generalise about people here, but in Game of Thrones, a lot of people fuck. They had to tone it down after season 1, but at that stage they had all the kind of the pervert demographic, that kind of them hooked down, right? A brother rides a sister in like the second episode, right? Now, I wasn't paying too much attention because I was watching it with my two mates, or who Midge probably knows, and they're a little boy sees them riding, right?
Is this in the TV show? Or?
In the TV show.
Oh, I thought you meant brother.
No, and I was thinking, I hadn't quite like worked out who all the characters were. Oh yeah, man and woman riding there, no bother, and that was the Queen and her brother, right? So
apparently in these books, a lot of the people that I've made to be about 20 are actually about 15.
yeah,
So
I know, like some of the characters are the wrong age anyway.
it's very.
That's not the first time though.
It's still, it's.
People are in the film Grease.
Yes.
The characters are supposed to be about 17 in that.
And they look about 27.
John Travolta at the time, people thought it was bad because he was 23. So that's 6 years off. You know Rizzo,
Yes.
the leader of the girls, right?
Yeah.
She was 35
What?
when she was in that film.
So she was almost
Twice
double
her
the
age.
age. Oh my.
Twice her age.
Yeah, but still, even if somebody is like 17
Yeah,
or
but like
15,
people are willing to believe it, you know?
like even the films like those, the entire young adult genre, they're all about supposed to be like 15, 16. They're all at least 20 years old, those
Yeah.
actors. So
People often look older than they actually are, and it's very difficult to tell.
I see them and they're supposed to be our age. It's like, those are not our age.
But it
They're
just
way
goes to
bigger.
show older people can't tell. Your man down at the off license would be testimony to that. He doesn't know ages. Now, while I'm more into his series and all up on Netflix, I've been more interested in the old sitcoms myself. Now, I consider, much like rom-coms, sitcoms reached their high point in the 1990s, right?
Yes.
All the best sitcoms. There were some decent ones in the 80s, like Cheers, but a lot of them were crappy, just crapola, that was based on stupid family sitcoms.
Yeah.
Okay, there's reasons we should say we don't like the Cosby Show now, but even along with the rest of them, Growing Pains, fucking, Full House, right?
It's not very good.
Cheesy, really stupid jokes. It was really tame. Whereas,
like in the last episode, compare that to Back to the Future.
yeah, they could make decent films in the 80s,
Yeah,
but they
But
were
it's just the
screwing up
TV
sitcoms.
shows are just not good.
Yeah. But then, as you got to the 90s, you had Frasier,
You had Seinfeld.
you had Seinfeld, and you had Friends,
Yes.
right? Now, it depends who you ask. I suppose, like, everyone has probably seen most of the episodes of Friends at this stage, because they are literally on constantly, all hours of the day. Sometimes it's just teleshopping and Friends. That's the only thing that's on.
And
Middle of the night.
I prefer Seinfeld myself.
Yeah, but see then, you grow past 13, and you realise you're becoming more sophisticated. If you think like Frasier and Seinfeld to be on. But I think a lot of the reason why they did better in the 90s, and I know this doesn't really work for Frasier, but they moved away from like sitcoms based around the family, and they live in like their semi-detached pebble-dashed house, you know. There's only so many jokes you can make about normal family life. It has to be a more dysfunctional situation, right? Whereas in Friends, it was it was a gang of friends in New York, so that's not too mad, but, you know, there was constantly, all the relationships were changing in the group, or, you know, Jerry Seinfeld was just, he was the one straight guy, and all his group of friends were mad, and it was a show about nothing.
So you have Costanza, you have Newman, you have
George.
Cosmo Kramer.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Like, it was just the characters could bring so much, because they were all so wacky, and then Jerry was there.
yeah, and they weren't really like.
Which is ironic, because he's a comedian, he's supposed to be the funny one, but, like...
The problem was, like, even with those TV shows around the family, they all have to kind of act the same. They're all related.
Yeah.
But you have someone like Costanza and someone like Jerry Seinfeld. They're very different, but you can have them
Yeah, and you can bring in people
interact
different
all the time
backgrounds,
because
different
they're
days.
neighbours.
But then even Frasier was like a merge of the two.
Yeah.
And ironically, it was a spin-off of Cheers, which is one of the only not family sitcoms from the 80s, because it was about a bar or whatever. Okay, there was a lot of it has to do because him and his father are moving, or he lives with him and his brother is always around and whatever else, and, you know, his ex-wife arrives, and, you know, there's still, but it's not, like, at least they're older.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the 80s ones, it's always a mum, dad, and 3 kids, and they fight, they love each other, and there's all these, you know, it's the exact same stuff everyone else saw in their own house. So you couldn't find it that wacky, you couldn't find it that amazing, because you've seen it enough times before. So, like, at least, I think you have to have dysfunction for the sitcoms. It has to be a bit strange that, you know, like Frasier's dad moves back in with him and his brother is always annoying him, and, you know, he's a psychologist on the radio, and you know, his chemist Niles pursuing Daphne for years, and he doesn't know, and all the rest of it. You have to have a few things like that are kind of running jokes. But then I think
you move on into the 2000s.
Yeah,
and
kind
what
of
was there?
A
lot of them they moved down to like younger people, so they had Drake and Josh.
Yeah.
Which is still one of the best sitcoms, in my opinion.
Yeah,
It's
for the younger audience it is. See,
even if you watch it now, it's so funny. Still, it's pretty funny.
We might think it was funny because, you know, like, you remember from old times or whatever.
Now, if you watch it now, it's still funny.
But a lot of what happened was all those actors who were in the sitcoms in the 90s, they didn't want to get stuck in that
Yeah.
role. So all the really good sitcom actors from the 90s left, and they were the ones they had trained in. They got it so right, and they had such great chemistry with the other characters. And then there was only kind of like crap ones left,
Mm.
you know. And they ended up doing a lot of kind of really, really bad spin-offs, like Joey. Whatever else.
Why?
Yeah, it wasn't great. Anyway, but then a lot of them did like films.
Yeah.
So now a lot of them weren't great either because these were crummy rom-coms. But I think a lot of the actors were just happy that they were just not in a sitcom, even if it was. The amount of Jennifer Aniston films at this stage, it's not even worth
I
going.
mean, even Matt LeBlanc nowadays, like he's on top here,
Yeah.
and people still think he's Joey, and then put you off.
Oh yeah, but at least Joey's appearance changed.
Mm.
Well, listen, he's not. He doesn't look like
He
Joey
doesn't look
anymore,
like Joey.
right? And he's gone as far away from sitcoms as he actually can. You know,
Mm.
even his after his really, really awful spin-off, you can understand why. You know, and like no, but you'd wonder if American sitcoms
Will ever come back.
yeah, it's like they had so many great ones in the 90s. Well, especially like after, like say mid-90s onwards, 93, 94, just after that, right? Whereas beforehand you had like, the fucking Nanny and all that stuff. Whereas I think
reality TV
reality
has ruined a lot of sitcoms.
yeah, because that's what people sit down to watch these days. People won't sit down to
Reality TVs are
people are prepared to watch a whole series on like Netflix,
yeah, they either like
or they for a weekly thing they watch like reality TV shows.
Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
It's like that's-
fuck off, honestly, fuck off.
Like, we understand why sitcoms there was certain ones that weren't bad, but it's just so shit. It's so vacuous. And I know that the Seinfeld show was supposed to be a show about nothing.
Yeah.
At least the characters in it was
Yeah.
funny. This is just rich people who have absolutely no grasp of what it's like to read a word. And
You know, most
they have
mo-
far more money than sense, and they just fuck around.
you know, it's all scripted.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Like reality TV, it's all scripted. It's utter garbage.
They realised a long time ago, in order to produce a whole series week after week after week,
It has to be some sort of a.
it has to be
Plot
so
line.
contrived, and the rises and the falls, and there's this and there's that going
And then
on,
they all.
and it's always exactly enough to fill an hour or a half an hour,
And you
including
always
ad breaks, you know.
Have you ever seen it? It's like always, even there's some that are okay. Like let's say The Island with Bear Grylls, because that's like they film it themselves. There's no real director. There's no real script.
Yeah,
But you'd have like Big Brother, and there's always, you have to notice this every time you watch it. There's always somebody who gets painted as the bad egg. He always gets like, even you could be completely normal, but
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
always you always get
things
they
are.
shoot it like, you know, he'd say someone's an asshole,
Yeah,
and they kind of like cut that in, and they let the other person know somehow, and like they're painting him as a shit stir, even though everyone else is
they
calling
want a
everyone
really
else an
simple
asshole.
plot line for the, let's face it, really, really simple audience.
Yes.
And it's so contrived, and there's a reason I don't watch them now. I know my sister watches them and whatever else, and other people at home might watch them, but
I don't watch them either.
yeah, they're
We're not being snobs. We're just saying
yeah.
we're not interested.
There's a million other things you can watch. I don't know why people do, but I think so. While American comedy, like, they had their high point when like they petered off after Friends and Seinfeld and Frasier went off the air.
Mid 2000s
Early
was more
2000s,
like
yeah.
they came out with all the dramas. They came with Lost, Prison Break,
The Sopranos.
Band of Brothers.
Well, The Sopranos was kind of earlier, but yeah.
Band of Brothers, all them. They all came out in the
Then
2000s.
British
That's when-
comedy, I think. Yeah, but
the
even no,
2000s
but
was-
like the sitcoms,
Yeah.
the long running ones, they're never going to beat Only Fools and Horses.
Nah. Like
It's-
they tried to step up,
That's
but
yeah,
they couldn't.
but that's why that's what they still repeat it. They still repeat it on BBC. Okay, it's going to get repeated on UK Gold regardless.
Yeah.
But nothing will ever take its place. It ran too long. There's too many specials. They're too well loved.
You can't remake that.
Yeah.
The Americans would remake it.
Yeah,
Like,
actually,
there's a certain age, and then things become American. They just remake them.
I'm
'Cause
surprised.
people refuse to watch them.
I'm surprised it hasn't been remade.
Well, they had that one
'Cause some
Christmas special like 7 years later where they came back and it's like where they'd lost all the money.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
But that was-
they've made a lot of Christmas specials. But as in, I'm surprised the Americans haven't remade it.
Mm-mm.
Because they tried to remake Fawlty Towers, and they got rid of Basil,
They got rid of the main character.
which is ridiculous.
They
They
tried,
made Dr. Watson a woman in Sherlock Holmes.
They tried to make the In-Betweeners.
That way, but see, it was so stupid because they took all the exact same lines,
Mm.
the exact same plot for every single episode, not even the exact same premise.
Yeah.
Right.
But they didn't call them bus wankers,
Yeah.
they were bus turds.
Yeah.
And
it was some of it was the exact same lines.
But that's what they did
But
for...
it's so arrogant that, oh no, we can't watch British people do it. We literally need American actors just in their voice and in an American school to read off the exact same lines.
Have you seen The Office?
The Office.
The Office, it's very, very strange. They made a complete remake of the first 2 seasons, or at least the first season. It's the exact same as the British Office. The second one, slight deviations. And then they did their own thing. Because the British one was only 2 seasons.
Yeah.
This ran for like 5. Or even more.
But
it was...
Yeah.
It's the character.
It's like they can take the premise, but the fact that they need to see it with their own people. They need to see it with American actors. No other country in the world has this problem.
Yeah, but they made it so much better. It's
I know.
so
Yeah,
strange.
but no. Once they do their own thing,
Yeah.
once they actually write the script themselves, they're fine.
Mm.
They don't need to do the stupid thing of we need to do word for word. Once that was literally impossible for The Office anymore.
Because they ran out of material.
Yeah, they can go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
And it works.
But
I
even
don't understand why they don't do it more often.
But even the first 2 seasons are great.
Yeah.
They're better than the British Office.
I know, but where they did so well and where they
Mm.
really made their name
Yeah,
was because they actually
next
continued
seasons,
on
yeah.
with their own thing. The same premise, but it was their own thing. But even, you'd wonder what they do to Only Fools and Horses.
Jesus.
They make it like, I don't know.
Hillbillies.
No, but they'd go and they'd either do it exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
and it wouldn't work because it's British humour and it'll make no sense and it'll look
No.
stupid and it'll flop. Or they'll do something like, I don't know, they'll make Del Boy a lesbian woman and, you know, Rodney his fucking life partner or something, you know, and Uncle Albert is, who the fuck, their fucking flatmate or something, you know. It's one thing to take the premise.
Yeah.
They can do their own thing. All their best shows are actual American writers and producers and
Yes.
actors actually came up with it themselves.
But honestly, watching stuff, remember when the writer's strike was on?
Oh yeah.
That it wasn't very good. They need those American writers back.
Yeah. You really realise just comedians really only get paid to deliver the jokes.
Mm.
And if they can't do anything because most of those jokes they're perfected by the comedians and the exact wording of it and the timing.
But they're written by the writers.
The premise of the joke and most of the writing is done by 70 guys in a room.
Yeah, there was a great episode of the Crack.com podcast. They speak to the not all of the Simpsons writers, but to some of them about just certain jokes that they've put into the show and the hidden meanings and the fact that nowadays, you know the way it used to be, like if Lisa was in the library, you'd have just like the book and there'd be a little squiggle and that was the title. But
Yeah.
now that it's HD, that 1 second they come up with like 20 funny book titles that they have, like, you know, How to Peel Your Orange for Dummies or something like that. Have about 20 of them for 1 second they're shot.
Yeah, I
And
know.
there's so many jokes that they put in just
But
in the background.
It's only 22 minutes
Yeah.
per week. And it's the
But
big...
it takes them like 6 months. They can't do anything topical. They can't do a South Park on it because it takes them almost a year to make. It takes them a year to make every episode. South Park, they make every episode in a row.
Yeah.
The Simpsons, they make the entire season.
Mm.
So they can't have anything topical. But South Park.
Yeah. That's their niche, so they have no choice. They have to.
Mm.
But I was thinking, like The Simpsons, should they have stopped already? Remember there was rumours at 20th season they were going to stop.
And then it was 25th they was going to stop.
Now it's supposed to be 30.
I don't know.
Like there
Because
are...
they make so much money off it, but...
But is it nearly that people aren't even watching it that much anymore? And it's not even like, if they started now and they were just brand new, The Simpsons, and they just started with recent episodes, I don't think it'd make it.
No.
Mostly it's on name recognition, and what they want to do is the branding
Yeah.
and the brand name
Like there was
They just want to keep going.
There-
And it's like the franchise. And all the DVDs, toys, memorabilia, t-shirts, and all the rest of that crap.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah.
But there's a reason that they had in America, I think it was about a year ago, they had an entire Simpsons marathon. They played every single episode
Yeah.
in a row. But they started it on like a Thursday night
Yeah.
because the first few seasons are shite. And then you get to like seasons 10 to 20 before they switch to HD. Those were the best. And then when they switched to HD after the Simpsons movie, I don't know, it kind of went downhill from there. They're just not as funny anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think after the Simpsons movie, or even before that, some people argue that after season 7 it isn't as funny anymore. But some of those jokes
Like,
are
I
too
think
old to be funny.
The teenage
No.
years are the best. The
Yeah,
teenage.
But particularly after the Simpsons movie, they realised we're brilliant, we're here forever, we can do whatever we want. Like, there's not enough money at this stage.
Like, do you know how they come up with the premise for some of their episodes?
How?
You know the big poster you can get with all the Simpsons characters?
Yeah.
They go up and think, that character there has never run into that character there. How are we going to connect them together? That's how they do. That's how they write some of their episodes.
They nearly have it down to a science.
Yeah. Like, if you're interested
But it's like a
in this...
machine. It's like, you shouldn't make sitcoms like a machine.
Yeah, but honestly, guys, listen to the episode of the Craft.com podcast. We're going to link it down in the description.
Yeah, we will,
It's honestly worth the listen.
So guys, you've reached the interlude in the In 1 Year Out Together podcast, episode 4. Just heard us discuss television, and now we're going to move on to our second topic today, which is going to be technology and just technological advancements in general. Thanks for listening. It's just a natural break to take, and yeah, we're just going to play a song, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Thanks for listening. See you.
Keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go. Owers and tastemakers make us no chaser. Gets the blood flowing like a fucking pacemaker. Cut the middleman and inhale the vapors. Madman, old 10 Don Drapers. Cut the jukebox on, make the woofers blow. We gon' sit here until all them heifers go. Holler at the tens and spend a little dough. Not on them, no, they can buy their own drinks. Take that work week off, 5 days in the bucket. Fuck it, you got a boss who's a jerk, who doesn't? Throw on some Wu-Tang, bring the motherfucking ruckus. There is no pretext, we are living and we love it on a budget. Never mind, we just nudge it to the side. Give the kids a little time, we are living till we die. Focused and we hustle, but we still be getting high. No exception to the rule, do what you do to get by. Cause the clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me just let me That clock keeps ticking like a metronome, and my thoughts keep telling me to get me home, but my balls keep telling me to let me Fuck all that shit, just let me go. At a house party getting jammed up, you and Tony Danza. When they ask who's the fucking boss, put your hand up. Never put it down cause you're banging to the anthem. 2010 trend, put the iPod on random. Wonder why I tried to play this instead of Hanson. Probably cause it gets the people moving like a handgun. Just like the little white fellas up in Hamden. Happy Easter from the motherfuckers living in the mansion. Yeah.
Anyway, off sitcoms and TV and on to the future and the future of technology. Because this is going to be very important now. First thing I was particularly interested in is driverless cars. This is particularly interesting to us because we're about the age we've to start learning to drive.
Yeah.
Right. And that's quite difficult, particularly here in Ireland. Theory tests and 12 lessons and all the rest of it.
Not like in what? Like Egypt, forward 10 meters, backwards 10 meters.
Yeah.
And then you have to like parallel park or something. It's like, here you go, use your license.
Yeah, I think if you get the parallel park at half right, you can afford to do some of the marks. Or just in Ireland before there was no test. I often tell the story of my granddad went down to get my granny her driver's license. She didn't even have to be there, right? He just went down himself. no picture or anything. And regardless of how many licenses he wanted, it was the same price. So he handed over his money and said, right, I'm getting my money's worth. So he had initially just ticked car and work vehicle, the top box. Yeah. Then he goes minibus, tank, coach, articulated lorry, just ticks every single box he wants the license for. So for years it made no odds. There was just this massive list of stupid things in the back of the granny's driver's license, all the things he could drive, right? Until she was in the civil defence and they had a minibus to drive around in, right?
Granddad could drive it?
No, see, technically Granny could drive it because it said it said it on her driver's license. Can drive minibus. Now she'd never driven a minibus in her life before the civil defence got one. She'd never actually seen a minibus. But whenever one of the new people had to learn to drive, because at this stage they had actually brought in proper tests to drive a minibus, Granny had to sit in the back seat because she was the only authorised fully licensed driver. So if you're on a provisional licence, you actually had to get Granny to sit in the back seat. And it made no odds.
Oh. No, driverless cars.
But they probably are the future.
Yeah, hydrogen powered or electric powered.
Yeah, see, one of the ways hydrogen could become the future more than electricity, because electricity.
Because you still have to
it comes from the plug. And
where's the plug come from?
Yes, the coal plant. Yeah. Now, I think, we're up to 20% in Ireland?
There's one coal plant down in Limerick.
Yeah. The one in Dublin's been closed for.
Yeah, the rest is gas.
More than 10 years.
Gas and.
Yeah, and even. Yeah. But it's about a fifth from actual renewable sources now. There's some countries, Costa Rica, I know we can't.
It's like 90% or something.
Yeah, they used to be the worst offender for climate, and they just said no. Costa Rica will be destroyed if we do, and they decided in the 80s, and now they're. Or even it's almost 100% renewable.
Or even what's really good is what they started doing on the continent is biogas. It's essentially, you take, let's say you let your field lie fallow.
Yeah.
You sow just shite.
Yeah.
You cut it all down and it comes into this big tank thing, and it breaks down and it creates gas, like methane gas.
Yeah.
And then they take that, and so it's essentially you're not burning methane gas that's coming out of the ground, but you're still producing methane gas. And it's still a reliable source, but it's still, look, gas isn't the worst offender by far.
Yeah,
because it gets burnt up.
It burns cleanly. If it's burned properly, and I know a lot of the time it isn't.
Coal is the worst offender.
Yeah.
By far, coal.
And that's primarily why they had to close the one in Dublin, because the coal fire plant is just disgraceful amount of pollution in Dublin.
I know, but hydrogen, you make that through electrolysis.
Yeah, so in theory, they could use the
bit of current to some water.
Yeah, so they can take the current from the wind turbines.
Yeah. Power that through some water, and it splits it up into oxygen.
Yeah, which we all need,
and then
especially because the shortage of trees.
Double the amount of hydrogen.
And then when you burn the hydrogen, you get
turns water.
And there's going to be a shortage of water by 2050, so we need the water, right?
Yeah.
And there is a shortage of clean drinking water, particularly in there's parts of Ireland where you still in a boil water notice.
Yeah.
So if you can just take it straight out of your car and into the kettle,
that'd be great.
That's no bother. But the driverless cars particularly, once there's no driver, taxis become extremely cheap.
Yeah.
Right, now I know that's 3,000 taxis in this country?
Something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of
people. There was none, and then they went mad with the licenses, and now there's too many.
Pretty much anybody can get a license now. And
anyone can get it. Like, you can ring up at any time of the night and you can get a taxi.
Yeah,
there's so many.
There's so many. And even, a lot of people do it when they go to work. Because if you have a company car, and it's clean, and it's a nice car, and it's up to scratch, and it'll pass the tax. It'll pass I think there's more stringent NCT for taxis. And you get it done more often.
Yeah.
So, like if you have a nice car that you got in work and you've been sacked, all you have to do is pay. It's a couple of thousand. So that's the redundancy package for the taxi. For the light above it and the license, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
But if they're allowed to work, it'll be extremely cheap to get a taxi, to the point where it will actually be very, very cheap to never own a car, just to hire cars constantly.
Like there's certain services you can get already don't know if they're in Ireland yet, but they're like in America, where it's just basically cars you park somewhere, and then it's essentially like the ride on bikes, the Dublin bike scheme, but you just
the go-karts, yeah, you can rent them for a couple of hours.
get in, drive it around, then leave it back somewhere, and then someone else comes along, take it along.
You could effectively have them, but with no drivers.
Yeah.
So there'd be almost no accidents.
Yeah.
And
you can tell your car, you get out in front of the shopping centre, you tell your car, go park yourself.
Yeah.
And then go park yourself, and then you walk back out, you press your button on your key fob or on your phone.
Yeah.
And it drives it back and it picks you up.
I know. But the problem is, I know this sounds ridiculous, a lot of, it isn't an issue in this country, but a lot of funding that local authorities get in the States is from fines for people driving too quickly.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, it reduces accidents on the road, and we'll all be safer on the road if people don't have to drive their own car, and there won't be drink, because almost every single accident, logically, and the statistics have shown this, obviously, it's human error.
Yeah.
Because it's really, like, it's not like the road is going to move. It's usually people in the cars make mistakes.
That's why we can never have flying cars. People can't drive in 2 dimensions. They won't be able to drive in 3 dimensions.
But once you remove the driver, you remove the human error.
Yeah.
But it also means no one breaks the speed limit. Nobody drives less than 2 chevrons apart. Yeah. Nobody switches lanes like a fucking madman.
There was one time that they pulled over a self-driving car, and that's because it was going too slowly.
Huh?
But that was it.
So that's really the only issue to confront. And I suspect that there must be some kind of override system in the car. Because the initial driverless cars were... Remember the one that Google hooked up with all those students in the States?
Yeah.
And it was like a Ford Mondeo. And they had all this fucking equipment hooked up to it. Right? Whereas the future driverless cars, it'll be built in. You won't look like you're going to travel time with fucking Marty McFly, right? You're not going back to 1885, right? We can just touch on Back to the Future again there. But if people don't break the speed limit some of the time, they don't do the odd bit of chanciness on the road, then it means the police in the States won't be very well funded.
How about they reduce their military? How about they stop 60% of your income tax going to the military?
Yeah,
How about you change that?
It is a bit mad. They spend stupid amounts of money in the military. As far as, like, if you're a local city administrator, you're on a local council or whatever, and you're looking at...
You're going to try ban them.
Yeah, because they're looking at the sources of money, and it's a massive chunk of the budget.
Like, you know the Teslas?
Yeah.
They were only made legal in Germany about 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, because there was such pressure. There was big lawsuits by all the oil companies.
Yeah.
And then they ruled, nope, they're allowed. Did you hear what they're going to be able to do with the Teslas?
No.
See, they're always upping their auto-drive features already.
Yeah.
So what they want to do within the next 5 years is, wherever you are, you can push a button and your car will drive to you.
Yeah.
You're in New York, your car is in LA. It will drive itself till the battery is empty, hook itself up to the charger, charge itself up when it's full, drive off again.
That'll look mad though, because like if you see a car going down the motorway and there's nobody in it, you're gonna think, oh boys, something's gone wrong here. You're gonna think, oh, it's a dream, I'll just crash the car. No bother. Fucking foot, pedal to the metal, boys. So if the police have no money, then okay, the highways are safer, the motorways are safer. But you know, your local street and your local estate and all, the scumbags will run wild, right? Because there'd be no police, and the police will just have no money. So apart from driverless cars, which make us seem very advanced as a society and all the rest of it, apart from the obvious funding errors with the police, whatever, remote control cars, and we're not talking about the ones your mum got you for Smiths for your 12th birthday.
These are developed by Ford in America as their version of a driverless car. What essentially is going to happen is you're going to have a little steering wheel which looks like something you bought for your PS2, like Gran Turismo. You're essentially going to have that and like 3 computer screens, and you're going to sit at home and drive your car.
Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people at home listen to this thinking, lads, You're being cynical. This is brilliant. But if you think about it, if you're at home, what's the fucking point of driving your car anywhere? Like, unless you're afraid to go out of the house and you're, I don't know, a fucking delivery man or something, you know? It has no purpose. A car is a mode of transport. That's like, I don't know, like you attached a camera, you know, you attached a camera to, I don't know, a fucking Segway or something. A remote control Segway, let's say. And you drove it onto the Lewis, and you got camera footage of you on the Lewis, and you fucking drove it off into school or whatever. Literally pointless, right? If you're not in the mode of transport, it isn't a mode of transport anymore, it's fucking vacuous, right? It has no purpose. At all.
Wow.
Like,
who comes up with
this
this
is
shit?
Ford. This is one of the largest automobile corporations in the world.
This is where is where America's bailout money has gone.
Yes.
To develop a remote control car for people that think, you know, playing Gran Turismo is a bit too, you know, fun. So you might as well keep to the rules of the road.
Yeah, like, do not play a racing game. Like, there's still human error. And there's probably going to be more because even I assume there's, I don't know, you press square and you can look backwards or whatever. I don't know, right? And there's a rear view camera. But first of all, what if one of the cameras falls over?
What if there's... And it's going to work over 4G. And guess what happens to 4G?
Yeah.
What happens to 4G? Quite a lot.
It just breaks. Like,
Exactly.
it's just gone.
It just falls. Go.
It falls away.
You're on the motorway and you lose signal for 2 seconds. You're going to crash.
Yeah. That's highly dangerous.
I know.
Like, even within those computer screens, let's say nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
You need to be able to see all of what's around you, especially particularly on the motorway, because there's cars on all sides.
Like, that's why they have the
One
three
direction.
They have like 3 screens.
But
They
you're
have
only
it-
going to be able to see so much. You can't see
Exactly.
it, the side windows. You will have no appreciation for what's actually going on.
No.
If nothing goes wrong, it's just pointless. If anything goes wrong, it's a total disaster, and people might actually be killed. I know you might be, because you're home safely, drinking your goddamn Mountain Dew, but, you know, it's fucking...
Lives at stake.
There's other people's lives at stake who actually drive to work in their cars instead of just fucking watching Netflix and then, like, fucking one eye on Netflix, one eye on the car, right? Real people don't do that. They actually just sit in their cars and you might hit them.
And like they say, oh, you know, it's for driving like old people to, you know, you could drive old people to their appointments.
Just puts them in danger.
You could drive.
Yeah, and you could go outside, like, you know, the good relation you might be, and drive your granddad to the hospital your fucking self.
You could drive, you know. The sober wife at home could drive the drunk husband home in the car that he's taken to the pub. But, you know, what are teenagers invented for? Like, your son gets your license, or your daughter, yeah, you're going to use the car, but whenever you want to, you know, whenever I need a lift home from the pub, you're coming to pick me up.
Yeah.
You know?
But that's how it goes. Unless in Ireland and your teenagers are probably locked anyway. So I suppose it might work in this country, but then again, you drive into the Midlands and your 3G is fucked. Or just anywhere away from Dublin.
What else is stupid? The Toys R Us iPad stand for little children. Do little children need an iPad?
No.
Does it ruin their eyes? Yes.
Does it ruin their sense of imagination,
Yes.
their young lives? The fact that there's very few years at the start of your life where you can pretty much just fuck around outside and not have to look at screens for all your days, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to just get the kids in the iPad. I'm a lazy parent. Just fucking get a bit of porn up on the iPad there, he'll be grand, right?
So, you know, instead of drawing on a piece of paper, you're drawing on a fucking screen.
Yeah.
You can't even hang that up. You know, if you're a parent, you know, all parents hang up their children's art, even if it's garbage.
Even if
art.
it's as bad as ours was.
Yes,
it
they still
gets-
hang it up. Mommy, can you hang up the iPads?
Yeah, I don't think the magnet is going to go through that and stick to the fridge now, is it? But I'll tell you, Have you ever heard that joke? There's a guy who comes downstairs one morning and says to his wife, "Honey, did you get the paper?" It's no, it's 21st century. Just use the iPad. So he takes it, smacks it against the window. He smacks it again. Bang, bang, bang. iPad is in bits. It just leaves it down. Right, well that's that fly sorted anyway. There's a wee joke anyway for you lads, in case you thought this was a serious podcast.
I don't know, there's too much. Like, there's good technology and then there's the overuse of technology.
Full on waste
Like-
of time.
like
waste
still-
of our
you know-
resources as humans
Yeah.
to with our fucking remote controlled cars.
Or
Like,
even, you know,
just download driving simulator for €15 off Steam and it's as good as.
you know what's you know, like Apple Pay and Google Wallet. You know how pointless that is.
What are these?
You know, it's like you pay with your phone. It uses the NFC chip,
Oh yeah.
but they're so stupid. You pay for it, and you scan your fingerprint, and apparently you still get a piece of paper, and you still have to sign it.
Yeah. So
So you might as well open
might
up your
as well
wallet,
take out
give
your
them
fin-
your card.
and even they
Even-
have most Visa cards. Mine is a small bit too old. I think yours is as well.
Yeah.
But the most ones
They have to-
they're issuing now.
Yeah.
We got our next ones.
There's a pin. There's like a little
You
chip.
just tap it against
You tap it, and
Yeah,
there's no signing
Yeah,
or
there's
anything.
issues with that because if that goes missing.
Yeah, but still,
I know I don't keep a lot of money in my Visa account, but
it limits it to €20. But still, you know, like that. You might as well have your card with you.
yeah, I know.
And you know, in America, they don't use chip and pin.
No, you have to sign for it.
They
all the time.
use the swipey shit, which was used in the 90s.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
They don't change very often. The penny costs more than 1 penny to make, but they still won't get rid of it. They've done this in the past. There used to be a half penny. That's worthless, so they fucking got rid of it, right? You know, like, they can do it again. They would say, oh, well, Abraham Lincoln would be underappreciated then, because he's on the penny.
Fuck off.
He's on the 5, right? it's not like, oh, well, if you're wealthy enough to afford 5s, like everyone has fucking 5. They've seen Abraham Lincoln on the fucking 5. Everyone gets paid in 5s.
And their maximum denomination is 100.
Yeah. Well, that's probably a good thing. The 500s had to be discontinued. We're discontinuing them in Ireland because they're getting used by drug dealers.
I went to 200.
They're going to discontinue that as well, you know that?
Oh no.
It's just drug dealer money.
You barely ever see.
Have you ever seen a 200?
Yeah.
I've never seen a 100, you know that?
Oh, you get them on the continent.
I've seen a big stack of 50s that
Like,
time I sold meth. I mean, that time I got paid
Like in
for
Ireland,
my work.
which you definitely did.
Yeah.
But-
Definitely was legal and tax was paid.
In Ireland, if you go and get €500,
All in 50s.
all in 50. Why? Anywhere on the continent you go on, €500. They give you They give you 300s, 250s, and like 520s. Or
Yeah.
even if you get 100 at the bank machine, in Germany they give you a 50, a 20, 2 10s, and 2 5s.
I know we're going to get loads of anecdotes now in the fucking comments. Along with, oh, 9/11 was an inside job, lads. Look at the fact. We're going to get those comments. We're also going to get the stupid anecdotes of like, oh, there's a machine in Trim, County Meath, and it gives nothing but 10s or something, right? No. And you end up with lads. There's a shop around near our school, and let's just say the proprietor isn't too happy when she has to give out loads of change. I remember I went down one time, and 10-cent bag of sweets there, please. Or 50-cent bag of sweets, because it was Friday. I got myself the 50-cent bag, right? Because I'm so mad. And what you call it? 50-cent there, row, and sorry, you're nothing smaller than that 50 there. Honestly, I swear she was about to get out the shotgun, right? Couldn't leave the shop fast enough. She figured it was not worth the hassle for her to give me the fucking change, right?
Oh,
But the biggest flaw with those ATMs, and I know we're kind of deviating off future technology, we're going fucking back to the past now. There's a guard. Well, he's not a guard anymore, obviously, because it turned out he was quite the crook. This guard realised, because he used to study ATM all the time to prevent robberies, fraud. He realised if you leave some of the money in the tray, this is a security feature. Obviously, nobody would realise this because you always take the money out. But in case you were getting beaten up for the money, or you collapsed or something, the money gets sucked back up again. But it adds the original. Let's say I took out 400.
Yeah.
it sucks back up whatever's left and adds 400. Because it assumes you were unable to take out the money, so there's all of it's left. This guard realised he takes out 350 and he'd leave 50 in the tray. So it sucked back up 50, but it adds 400 back to your account. And like, that's so obvious. And he was doing it for months and months. And he was taking thousands and thousands and thousands. But like, when he arrived up to work in that new Jaguar, I think the lads got a bit suspicious. And he eventually got caught and he was sacked. And he can imagine he's probably inside in jail now with all the crims he locked up. Like, I'd say it's so great crack for him now in the showers. I'd say there's
So
shudder to the think.
what other technologies? Just people's obsession with technology, like
Not
if
even
you-
not
if
even
you-
with technology, but they have to have the latest phone.
yeah, just no. You know what?
Like, my phone is getting pretty slow, so this
Yeah, but it was a cheap phone.
yeah.
It was what, €200. It's
I was dear
not
enough.
that
It
expensive.
was dear enough, but it's pretty good. I got
Yeah.
it a while ago and it's lasted me.
Yeah.
So I'll probably have to get a new one later in the year.
But still, if you
But that's because I actually need
Yeah.
a new phone.
people
Right. People, the new iPhone, like,
€1,000,
yeah.
€1,000.
And the first guy to
And
get
it's-
it, and the first guy to get it, remember, he dropped it on the ground.
It's not, and then you're paying €1,000 for a phone that's not waterproof. That the screen breaks pretty easily. They're just people don't understand that the phones nowadays are cheaply made. It costs them about €50 at max to make these phones.
Yeah, and that's including
That's including labour and
yeah,
including
no,
shipping.
having shipped over, having it retailed.
Yeah,
The
everything.
whole lot.
Costs you about €50.
The basic cost price when it
Yeah.
comes out of the factory or sweatshop, let's be real, is like a tenner at most. They've nearly the iPhones. I think this is why brand loyalty will ultimately cost you. The iPhones have almost become like designer clothes now.
Yeah.
People are just paying for the brand.
Even though,
They're actually in some cases worse than.
like the new
I know we're touting Samsung and HTC, or like because
the-
we have them, but
the new Samsung, it's waterproof and it uses like Gorilla Glass 4 on the front.
if you shop around for the actual features that you want, and obviously depending on provider, you want the right plan
Yeah.
as well. The actual features of a phone that you want, and you look at that big list of stuff that's written under the nice little pretty picture of it in the glossy magazine you get at the phone shop, you actually end up with a decent phone.
Yeah.
This, like, they've created a religion out of Apple,
They have.
but that's danger. You can't.
Like I'm going to make a prediction here. In the next 20 years, they're going to go bankrupt.
If you eventually, and I know
They
we're
might
big
have
saying,
58 billion in cash, but
it runs out quickly when you're a big corporation, though.
eventually it does run out very quickly. Especially if someone like Trump comes along, and he's going to tell them, "You're going to either stop making them in China, or I'm going to put such high tariffs on them that you won't be able to sell them. I'm
Yeah.
going to put 100% tariff on them."
You'd wonder what Trump might do. He might get a bit distracted on Twitter, but like, yeah, because manufacturing jobs have all
Really
they've
gone
all
down.
they've all but left the West at this stage.
Yeah.
So eventually, there will be leaders to come along and say, "Listen, we will do protectionism again from products from China, from India, from all the rest of the places." And they might mean
Like,
like
even-
it'll be difficult to do, but if they threaten it, they will have to start making them in the States again, and the price might go up. People might run out of patience with that, but I think it's you know the way
even
they
Samsung, but they produce good chunk of the parts that Apple use are made. The CPUs are made by Samsung.
and it's not actually not even just phones that do that now. There's actually a lot of high end car manufacturers are using Mitsubishi engines, and I don't know why you wouldn't just buy Mitsubishi at this stage. Because the brake is
and
off.
they have an 8-year warranty.
Yeah.
And because, it's like the joke in Back to the Future. Oh, no wonder it broke. It's Japanese.
Yeah.
Japanese are smart lads. That's where the future is at. Like, if you go to Japan, it's like living in the future. And
Yeah,
it's
but
because
they
they've got the right ethos over there. It's
but
all
they,
very.
they actually strive to
It's all a lot about respect in
Yeah.
Japan.
But they actually strive to make. It seems to me, and I
Yeah.
haven't been to Japan, but they actually strive to make the technology tangibly better.
Yes.
It actually has better features and it improves the quality of people's lives. Whereas in here, and in the States, and
It's
Britain,
all about money.
yeah, but
That's where it's
they
all
want to make
about.
more money.
They
and
want
they-
as much money as possible.
But we know about branding. We know a lot about that in the West, at least.
Yeah.
Got brand, brand loyalty. What do you got? Cool ad, right? That's grand for fucking aftershave, right?
Mm.
Where you just have to show some fellow with a pole up his arse walking about. You know what that stupid like blue steel,
Yes.
fucking Derek Steel blue steel face, and his really fresh looking suit. And he thinks he's slicker than Stanley, and he sprays on that. Like, eventually, people are going to realize that this stupid cult
Yeah.
around you can't have around Apple. You can't have a cult around a corporation that's out to make money. That's dangerous. Whatever you say about religion based around people who are just out to take the money
Yeah.
is ridiculous, and it's doomed to fail. Eventually, people will
like-
realize
and-
they're selling us shit. They're selling us the fucking snake oil, and we're just going to.
And people don't realize, like,
And it's not just going to be Apple.
You have a €40 a month plan for 2 years for a phone that will inevitably, when the new iPhone comes out, they still charge you about €100 for the actual phone.
Yeah.
100 to €200 just for internet and calls and texts.
Or even if you saved up that money, actually bought a car, upgraded your house, or in Ireland spent it on drink, right? You could actually improve your quality of life, but you're being sucked in.
Yeah.
Fucking con artists at this stage.
Yeah.
They were clever in the 80s and they were a bit kind of cool in the 90s. They actually did new stuff, or they did it better and more user friendly.
Yeah, and we're not saying that it's just Apple. It's also Samsung.
Yeah.
They still charge, like, their phone is
It's much
built.
better.
It's built better, but it's still they charge about 200. I think you get the new one for like $800 or $700, whereas the new iPhone's like $900.
Yeah.
But still, it is a fraction cheaper. But still, like, they improve it. There's more improve. They improve it more each year as it goes on. But it's too much money.
Yeah.
And people then.
I don't think every single.
And people don't appreciate their phone as having too much value. Like, if you had a €700 note, you'd pay much more attention to it than you would to your phone.
Yeah. You see people going into bars and restaurants.
And leaving it on the bar.
Phone down the table.
On the bar.
Off to the toilet. In fairness, though, yeah, it's a strange. Like, people wouldn't. Maybe some people would wear jewellery that was worth that much money.
Yeah, at least
But
you
only
don't-
on, like, if you were going out with a special occasion or whatever, you know? Like, phones are very, very expensive, and people, they carry around in your pocket your fucking keys and all the rest of it. It is very strange, because it's by far and away, these days, the most expensive thing people will carry around. Because they don't wear very expensive watches anymore, or the clothes aren't that expensive, you know?
But have you noticed all the Apple ads? They don't sell the phone. They sell the brand.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And it's even...
Like, even the new
be
new
part,
ones
be
where it's
part
just-
of our little community.
Yeah.
It is.
They have,
old
like,
stuff.
it's essentially, the new ads, they just literally, they take some pictures that they've stolen off some people, and they show about 10 of them. It's like, taken on the new iPhone. It's like, yeah, how is that going to convince me to buy your phone?
I know, like...
How is that going to convince me to buy a phone? Because you've shown me some pictures on a camera
but it's
that's worse than the one on the Samsung.
It's amazing how clever and a bit of nice music
Yes.
will really manipulate people.
Yeah.
And they think it's not just a phone; it's a lifestyle. It's about the same price. It's about the same size as. Well, they're slightly bigger. They're slightly bigger than a cigarette packet, and it fits in your pocket.
Yeah.
There's only so much it can affect your. I know we spend a lot of time on our phones these days.
Yeah.
There's only so much that can affect your lifestyle, and eventually, I think people will. I hope people will come to realize that a phone is a tool, and you need one, and you need to buy a good one.
What it's
But
like.
that's all it is.
Do you know what it's like? It's like this. During the agricultural revolution, which moved on to the industrial revolution, at first people were always starving.
Yeah.
Never enough food. Industrial revolution comes along, mass farming, everyone has enough food. People went mad for it. People had loads of kids because they could afford the food, and they lived. And that's the same thing with technology. There was none. Now there's a lot of it, and
we've just gone
eventually,
mad.
in about 30 years, 50 years, people will have realised they'll have dealt with technology. There won't be any hype about it. They'll
just
embrace it for their life. And
yeah.
that'll be it.
We just want. I think in the future we just want to make the technology we use good.
Yes.
As opposed to it has to be in the car, in the house, in your phone, on the TV,
In the fridge.
the fucking fridge. That it texts you, you're running out of beer. Oh, grand! It's not like I would have just looked in. You know?
Yeah, there's many things that people don't know about. Like it's all wireless. Oh, wireless is the best. Wireless this way. Wireless is shit. You have to admit that. How many times does the wireless drop out?
I know.
When you're doing something on your phone, on the laptop, whatever,
Now,
it drops out.
In some ways, it's more convenient because you don't need to wire the connection.
But they have things called TP-Link, which you plug from your modem into your socket.
Yeah.
And it sends the internet through the wires that are already in your house, your electricity wires. It sends the internet through that, and people don't know about this. They just don't know. And this technology has been around for at least 10 years, 10, 15 years. You've been able to you've been able to put the internet through cables.
But once people see wireless signal is weaker, then the broadband companies can get you to pay more and more and more money to get it up to a standard that you could get with wired.
Yeah.
Now, in a certain
and anyway,
to a certain extent, everyone kind of needs wireless for their phone.
Yeah. But you know the way.
But for the TV, most smart TVs, I don't know why ours is wireless.
Oh no, it's shit.
Computers, printers.
You have to.
Yeah, I know.
You have to get cable.
On that note, we better finish it off because we've probably gone over the hour.
Yeah.
This has been the E-dubble, the other podcast. I've been Ro. He's been Midge. Thank you very, very much for watching or listening. Even.
And you'll see me now in the outro. Yeah. Goodbye. And so we have reached the end of the 4th episode of the E-dubble, the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. So again, shout out to Solstice for letting me use their song, Echoes. Link, again, like in the last episode, down in the description. Thank you very much for listening. Have a very good evening. Good night. Goodbye.